I think that it has changed, but I think that change is coming to masticate folks in the gluteuses.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. You know why? Because when you gain a following and then you try to translate that into reality and you set up a show and 1 million people buy tickets and you go out there and you don't actually have the charisma it takes to capture an audience for more than 20 minutes, then they're not going to come see you again. They're not going to tell their friends.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because
tell me.
And it's kind of shitty. They have the charisma to come out and yell and scream, and they just change outfits a lot. But then they hire people like me to do all the work and be on stage all the time.
Who are you talking about? Let's get right down to it.
Yo, hey, what we gon' slap today? Yo, hey, what we gon' slap today?
Yo, 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 yo. Welcome to Slap the Power. I'm Rick Barrio-Dill.
I am Maya Sykes.
And today on the show in studio, we are beyond privileged to have the one and only TikTok, YouTube. You might have seen her on the Instagrams. You might have seen her on the Facebooks. All the stuff it's called. The one and only Olivia Kuper Harris. Thank you. Yeah.
What's up, y'all?
Yo, what's up? So Maya and I had previously been talking about how there's 3 generation, if not 4 generational sort of rules going on in the music business, right?
Okay.
But there's vintage acts that can tour. Nobody wants to see their listen to the new records, right? And then there's things that are in between, say like Vintage Trouble and kind of under the bands, and then there's
like niche audiences.
Yeah, and then there's your sort of kind of people that are on the rise, your one hits, and then there are people that make it all happen in a virtual world. I've been watching you from afar for a long time. I've been admiring your work on socials because that's ultimately how we receive so much music, nowadays, as opposed to the radio generation or the iTunes generation and such. And so my first question to you is for everybody that doesn't know you, tell her tell about yourself a little bit. But for me, you've come up from in social media in a way that I consider you one of the G's on how to master your art and control it on social media, and I that's what I'm going to be interested in chopping up today. So I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I will introduce myself. Olivia. I'm Olivia. I'm a musical artist and a songwriter, producer, and actress.
She has many projects as well. She's got a few of her own independent albums out, and she also works with a project. Tell us about your girl group.
Oh my gosh, I was just talking to them. I have a girl group. We're called India.Arie. We all just grew up loving those girl groups like Destiny's Child, TLC. I love singing with people. I grew up doing choir and all that. It's a blast. These women are so incredibly talented. It's with Danielle Withers, who you know, Joanna Jones, who you know.
Danielle currently she's worked with everybody, but she works a lot with Adam Blackstone. And currently she's, I want to say that she's a soprano backup singer on American Idol. And Joanna was the Eliza on Broadway in the third revolution of the cast of Hamilton. Ooh. She also has her own independent music out. Yes. So shout out to my ladies. They're out here doing it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We have a single. We're just talking about the music video right now. We're shooting it on Saturday.
Yeah.
We have a single coming out. Check us out. It's a good time. These women are incredible. It's so talented. And
can you tell us anything like on the concept, where you at with it on a video? Because we just for Vintage Trouble, we just finished one that it's interesting, even the thought about what goes behind the video. I almost think about it as multiple shorts now, right? And I think about it conceptually like that. If I'm thinking of a storyboard in my head, can you tell us anything about the theme or anything like that? How you guys are approaching it?
Well, I like to approach it story first these days, or sometimes I approach it with the vibe. Are we gonna go like, what era? What's the vibe?
Yeah, right.
In this case, I think because of what we're trying to like throw back to right now and how this particular record sounds, we're doing like an early 2000s, 90s thing. It was actually inspired by our space. So we started off wanting to do like a 70s like glam thing, and it changed once we found the location for the shoot. So we're just going with the flow. We're letting it tell us what it is and not trying to like force it and control the video to be something that it's not, as all the different pieces come together. I think that can be across the board for creating things, creating videos, creating songs, as producing things, like something, it comes down through you and it tells you what it is sometimes, and then you have to just go with the flow because you can't force things. So this video is going to be dope. We're going to be, we're using this great like rollerblading rink in North Hollywood.
Oh, cool. Shut up.
We're going to be going around. We're going to be going around. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I think with my own videos these days, I've been wanting to go more story, so that I like to include like a little comedy these days. My last video, I wanted it to be funny. And I'm just trying to, I think, spend less than I have in the past and say more. And just
by spend, you literally and metaphorically?
I mean literally.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Spend less dough.
To make it. Well, that's kind of one of the things that I wanted to segue into what I know about you, and what I kind of wanted to tell our audiences about you is that I know you from winning Postmodern Jukebox Star Search situation. So I feel that, and correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the visibility of you is what has helped you start to rise your star. So I've noticed that in all of your independent music projects, there's always a video component. There's always a social media aspect. There's always a hashtag. There's always so what did you learn some of that from Postmodern Jukebox, or did you know just to do this and that was how to be a part of this game?
I think as I was going along my journey, it just all started coming to me. And because I'm a crazy person and I'm really, really ambitious, I'm always trying to creatively think of new ways to, and it'll just come to me, I got to do this, I got to add this. It's never enough. It never ends. Like, if you're going to go about it in terms of like, I'm going to get new people based on using hashtags, or I'm going to get new people based on trying to attack new audiences in this way or that way, it's like, it's never... That's a negative side of social media, is that it's never enough. But not to get too far off of the question, I don't think I was really thinking about it in that way. I think I just started on this rolling ball, and then I couldn't stop rolling. And I was like, I got to do this. I got to do this. I'm one of those people who wakes up with an idea, and then I feel like I have to go do it. Chase it. Yeah. So I wake up and be like, that's the way it came to me, where I was going to do my album. And it's just because I have these dreams deep down inside me. And suddenly, if I feel like suddenly I have a platform to make them come possible, I'm like, well, let me take the advantage of this while I can. After I won that talent search, everything kind of changed for me, because I had basically no followers on Instagram, and I didn't really care either. Or I wasn't consumed by that.
But I also know that Postmodern Jukebox has its fame largely in part to their social media. So it's almost like you couldn't help, and then going on to other groups like Scary Pockets, where same thing. There was almost you see what I'm saying? So it's almost like once you get into that social media aspect of it, I find that there's two sides. There are the people who have become popular but can't execute, so they can't really do a show. And then there are the people that have utilized social media enough to get their popularity, but they can also execute. They can also do a show. Does that make sense?
Because I came up without social media, really, I was spending all my time and energy on just trying to be able to do the thing.
Right.
So, I thought that was what you were supposed to do.
Me too. So I have performance.
Maya, don't you know it's changed?
So, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like it's changed. I don't think you're wrong. That's my point.
Yeah.
I think that it has changed, but I think that change is coming to masticate folks in the gluteus.
I don't think that's going to be a problem. You know why? Because when you gain a following and then you try to translate that into reality, and you set up a show and a million people buy tickets, and you go out there and you don't actually have the charisma it takes to capture an audience for more than 20 minutes, then they're not going to come see you again. They're not going to tell their friends.
And I'm going to tell you why.
Okay.
Because
tell me.
And it's kind of shitty. they have the charisma to come out and yell and scream, and they just change outfits a lot. But then they hire people like me to do all the work and be on stage all the time.
Who are you talking about? Let's get right down to it.
I can't. I signed many hefty NDAs, but I can tell you by experience, I have been making tone-deaf white girls sound good since 2003.
That's a backup vocalist thing, though. That's been around for.
But I'm telling
since
you,
the beginning
what I'm telling
music.
you right now is it is getting so much worse.
Really?
And as somebody who is seeing this in real time, I'm like, I just sit up there like I don't have a very good poker face, so a lot of times I just
love
be
that
looking
about
like
you.
Yes,
I just
you
be
got
looking
to.
like the fuck, like I just look my whole face be
fuck is you
looking
mean?
like fuck you mean.
Yeah.
You remind me of my mom. People love it when my mom is at a show. They love it because there is no lying. I've seen her.
She got no filter.
I've
Your
seen
mom
her.
That's my
When
girl.
I was doing a thing with some people at the Americana. Or is that what it's called?
In Glendale?
Glendale.
Yeah.
That
She was
Caruso,
in
them
the
Caruso
front. Look,
gigs.
she was in the front.
Rick.
She's in the front,
no
like.
shout out to Rick.
And my castmates were like, you know what? We love her. We needed that. We needed somebody to look at us like, so we get our shit together.
No, what the fuck you mean?
But when she loves it, she's like,
it really is kind of to pull it back. I feel like instantly when somebody can't sing. And I feel like
But
for
now you
20
don't.
minutes that will translate though.
But now you don't. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. Almost every time I've done these gigs, like, and I used to, I'm not.
No, but I'm
talking
thinking about like your Ariana Grande's and your.
But this is what I'm trying to explain. Let me explain this to you.
Explain this to me, please. Please.
Okay.
Por favor.
The Ariana Grandes, those kind of people, even if they are
Sí.
singing with a Pro Tools rig, they can actually sing. So they're
Right.
just doing it
That's
to
what I'm
last
saying.
for 2 hours or whatever.
Yes.
No tea,
They
no
sound
shade to that,
amazing.
and no
No.
tea, no shade to that.
No.
Like that's production values. I'm not hacking on that.
Word.
Some of these Instagram and TikTok people
Okay.
can't carry a tune at all.
Yeah.
So all their
You're killing her.
I'm-
No, it's
but
true.
I'm
I'm
dead ass. Listen.
Yeah.
And what they do is they have a TV track that's like hella auto-tune, and
Yeah.
they just like lightly sing to that while we sing along. And I've done
that
that.
doesn't bother me because
It should bother
But
you.
because is that
Because they're-
sustainable? There's no longevity
Yes,
there.
because
we'll be here at the
these
end.
people
This is
Right.
our
are going
passion. That's
behind-
what we do.
Talent. Lines
But
up.
what's happening is that we're not getting a big enough cookie for the amount of labor that we are doing to support this lie. That's what I'm saying. And so why isn't that the more talented people who also are using blah, 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 aren't getting the same reaction as some of these? Like some of these people, you're right, it isn't sustainable, but what they are given because they have millions of views, like TikTok stars now have gotten record deals.
Yeah.
They have gotten product lines. They're not sustainable at all. You're right. But just the fact that somebody spent millions of dollars giving this person who couldn't execute any of this stuff a development deal for a record, this is
You gotta
happening
blame
right now.
capitalism for that to some degree.
But
right?
at
Just
what point does
sheer-
that system fall in upon itself? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
And at what point is the influencer God? Because right now it seems like the influencer is God.
And I don't. There's a certain degree of if that's where the hustle has moved and that's where the game has moved, then I got to respect the hustle and kind of move.
Then
that,
we
which
all
is-
have to adapt. That's fair.
That's as a musician again. That's
but
why I
something
focus
that's
on.
built on it's hard to adapt on something on a foundation of lies. I don't know
Yeah.
how to adapt. That's where I'm
Well,
coming
that's
from.
show business,
You know what I
though,
mean?
right? To some degree.
No, because back in the day, yes, there was a lot of smoke and mirrors. But at the end of the day, the more famous people were talented. And now the most
There was
famous
less to
people
hide
are
behind,
popular. They're
Yeah.
not talented. They don't do. In fact, not only are they not talented, they don't really do anything.
Our presidency has become a talent contest, popularity contest. I think so many things in America become popularity contests. The only music show that works is our contests that are based on popularity contests. That's why I want to analyze it, because I don't want to become the guy that's like looking back and I don't want to be mad at that they moved the cheese. I want to talk, I want to kind of cut it up into like how can we have an Overton window where this crosses over? Because I think you're right. There's no getting away from hacks getting record deals. We were literally Don shout out to Don Waz. We were in his office at the top of Capitol Records building, and I won't say who, but he's like, look at this. This is when we were playing it back, he's like, this is just awful, awful, awful. He's like, but Universal signing it because it's got 100 million streams, right? And it was this was 6-7 years ago. So much has happened just in between that. And I think somebody like yourself that kind of stays. You've managed to be in this time period where, you know, in the generational sort of crossovers and the rules of physics that are in there, you know, in our business. I'm interested in that because traversing that it seems to be the prescription for the future. If we want a way out, even for us as Vintage Trouble, it's if you want a way out, you've got to adapt, you know.
Yeah, if you can't beat them, join them type of thing.
Sure, yeah.
Now,
well,
I feel like
no, not.
I feel like if you can't beat them, you have to recreate a new system, and that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Yeah,
I like that. Mm-hmm. That's innovative.
What would it be?
But I don't feel like you don't have a choice. Like I almost feel like you have to be at the cutting edge of what the next precipice is. Like that's why like I'm a little reluctant to join. Yeah, because I've noticed that the people who get on that are talented, if they anticipate. Like, okay, the people who knew that TikTok was going to blow up and anticipated that and jumped on right away got capital gains.
Sure.
It's true.
So it's almost like you have to keep your nose to the technological ground to see, because it changes in real time every 2 to 3 years, especially a social media platform-wise.
Have you, whether consciously or not, felt like you're constantly having to change based on where the algorithm's power moves?
That's one way to go about it, is to be chasing the next trend, the next hot thing. Yeah. I've tried to get away from that and not fall prey to that. In doing that, I'm probably hurting myself because I think playing the game and jumping on every trend and every like, oh, this is, you know, something we're all doing. We're all singing a verse to this song right now. And then 2 days later, it's over. And
I never do that.
And it's another one. I don't do that either.
I ain't done none of these singing challenges. People be tagging me in these hoes. I don't do nary one. Like, I'm so sorry. Listen, like, I'm gonna tell this to like, I'm gonna tell this to your face. Listen, I love y'all. I love y'all so very, very much. I'm saying this in cameras and multiple cameras, just so I don't get this twisted. Okay, because my singing community, I love y'all like carbohydrates. But please stop tagging me in these singing challenges. First of all, I barely have a working tripod, and when I'm using it for like taping auditions and whatnot, or this crap, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I'm
so bad at it too.
I'm terrible. No, I'm not, and I'm not going in my garage and doing 100 takes for something I ain't gonna make no money on. I don't care. I'm so sorry.
Girl,
I love y'all so very much, but I will repost all of y'all's. So if you want me to repost it and you tag me being like, "Hey yo, Maya, can you repost my John?" Got you, Hundo P. But stop being like, "This is the blue blap blip 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 challenge." I don't have time. I have many jobs and I am tired. Thank you.
Just trying to hang on.
This may be like dumb. I don't know how people feel about this. I may be approaching it from an ignorant, almost like ignorance is bliss, like spiritual standpoint, but I'm chasing myself and what is me, and it's a lifelong journey to try to find out what is authentic to me and my sound, like that Miles Davis quote of like, sometimes it takes a long time to sound like yourself, or whatever the quote was. So my head, as maybe you have mentioned, you maybe saw on social media, I might be changing course sometimes. I think that's where my head is.
But shouldn't that be what an artist should do?
Sure. It's a different medium.
That is what an artist should do. I mean, there's no should, but
fair. That's fair.
That is what I'm trying to do. But that's probably because my age and my desires in life and what I'm seeking now in my life versus like what I may have been seeking 10 years ago. So in that scenario, in that case, I may not be the best person to ask about following the trends, chasing them, and what that can do for you.
No, but I think you're the perfect person to ask for that reason,
but
because
I know
marrying.
that I know that I need. But there's a part of me that is in a space where I've always had a love-hate relationship with social media. But there's a part of me that's in a space where I am going to be maybe transitioning into doing more social media-ing because I'm getting signed. I have this like deal, and it's going to be really important that I am promoting it in a way that is making everybody happy and me. And luckily,
can you tell us more about like what your deal is and what's going on?
Yeah, although I have no idea if I'm allowed to.
Well, then...
I have no idea.
Let's maybe put that on pause.
I didn't sign an NDA.
Yeah, we don't want to get you in trouble.
I have no idea if I'm allowed to talk about it. But all I know is that it's the sweetest, it's the most wonderful guys. I think it would be cool. I have no idea. But I just don't think they would. The reason I signed with them is because they are more organic.
You feel good in the room.
There's, they're more about maybe what I feel like I'm about. But I'm not I never say never. I'm not opposed to anything. I'm not opposed to jumping into like the shitstorm of like chasing trends. I just, if it's authentic to me, I'll do it. If it's not, like, I think it's cool to be knowing what's going on. I think it's cool to see what everybody's doing, but it's really dangerous to get caught up in that. If you want to be an artist, it's really like, it's a lot in your head about what things need to sound like.
Yeah, because I can take the singing challenge thing. Like I make a joke and I joke, I kid. But, for me, sometimes I always feel like, well, I am a singer in Los Angeles, and am I a deficient one if I don't do these? And then I had to look at it a different way. And I feel like looking at social media a different way is kind of the way for me anyway, and saying it's got to make sense and be fun for me.
Yeah.
The reason why I didn't want to participate in those challenges is I didn't find that to be fun. I love watching other people's, and I love seeing the joy that it brings to them.
Yeah, so you
but
can't
I wouldn't get that same joy.
Only do it if you like
and
it.
I just didn't see that that needed to be my testimony. So sometimes I just realize that, like, I don't, especially the older I get, my trending is like, okay, how does this bring purpose to my life? Like, bring me some happiness. It can't just be to push a product or to push a show or push a song or push a whatever. It's got to have some kind of engagement where if I'm talking to people, like sometimes people reach out and they talk to me in like broken English and stuff. And I'm like, okay, let me figure out like what you said and say something back. Just because I'm like, okay, at the end of the day, if it's social media, shouldn't it make us social? Shouldn't it make us closer in some kind? You know what I mean? Shouldn't it make us not just be placards that come on a phone, but shouldn't it actually be engaging? Yeah. And for me, I'm searching for, okay, if I'm going to do it, I can't do it sans purpose. So
I think whenever I've taken a break from social media, it's been so that I can come back and, like you're saying, have an intention, a purpose, an authenticity, and know what I'm doing there, and understand why I'm even there, and say things that matter to me, even if the caption is 2 words. I just need to feel that way. Not everybody does. I think people who really like capitalize on their social media pages don't really, it's a job for them. It's a full-time job. I think it's a full-time, I mean, that's why people who are musical artists have people doing their social media a lot of times. Sometimes they're doing it themselves if it's just fun for them, but they usually have an entire team.
Well, like Lizzo does most of hers, and she genuinely enjoys it.
Yeah, and I think I would enjoy it too if I had all that praise coming at me.
Yeah, well, and the ability to put together a team, probably.
I think that's a misnomer. I think that you see the praise because now she's gotten to a place in her career where she gets that.
Right.
But one day, just go on some of her posts and read what they say.
In the comments, you mean? No, I don't read comments. About, like, I can't let comments into the energy of it all.
But I'm just saying,
I can't.
It's crazy.
I'm just saying, just
crazy.
as a social experiment, try so that you can see specifically what a plus size Black girl is getting that now has front. No, but I kind of need you to, so you can understand. You understand?
Yeah.
But that she has to be that tough to still be that bright.
I was about to say bravery. It takes bravery.
It's bright to be that bright. She has to put on like the suit of armor of life.
Yeah.
And I think if more people understood what that took, like the vitriol that gets thrown at her on a daily basis.
Sure, but have you seen her? Like, because we opened up for her in Miami, and I take that back. It was actually. Well, it was a dual thing, and she was coming up when we were still on CAA, and she was always like even bouncing around. So the one thing I remember was she was so light and so happy, and I think in it, and I feel that in her social media posts. I feel, and I wanted to kind of get to this because I do think there's a mental health issue that became apparent during the pandemic and then coming out of the pandemic that, evidenced by a lot of artists coming off a tour, they had the whole time
and
the
having
pandemic,
nothing,
and then they went back on tour and was like, no, we're cutting this tour in half. There's a mental health part about it too that I know, as a guy who, the ups and downs of being on tour and having to change time zones, and there was a lot of depression. There's a lot of all kinds of things that I see if you don't like it. And Lizzo, I don't mean to, but it seems like she has figured that out, to be impervious because she's had to lift the weight of the world for so long that now she's just like fucking Atlas. She's
but have you seen what happened recently?
No, tell me.
Okay, so recently she did a tribute to Tina Turner, and somebody said,
I saw that.
So somebody said, I wonder how she's still that heavy but moves that well. And sorry. But the thing is, but that's the thing, like, she's been so like blocking the haters, boo back.
Yeah.
And for one moment that put a chink in her armor that hurt her so badly, she was like, some days I just want to quit. Some days I just want to be with my man and just go to a farm and say, fuck this, because I get this shit every day by the hundreds.
But
and
you
that's
gotta
what
know,
I'm saying.
You got to know, like, for example, the way that the right has taken over power, not to get meta with it, but the way that the right has taken over power is trolling, just trolling the left and getting the left fired up, right? And that is the way. That's because they don't have ideas. They don't have concepts.
And going back to this point, what hurt her about this man's comment was not this man's comment. It was the 9,000 likes of this man's comment.
Fair.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, even in this social media context, it can exacerbate self-esteem more so than anything. And we're looking at, okay, I should ask you this, because you're still of a generation that didn't directly grow up in social media. But there's a whole generation that's coming up where that's all they know. Data shows they ain't doing so well.
Mm-hmm.
Mental
the
health
data
wise.
shows that they ain't doing so hot.
Yeah, mental
health wise.
Because our whole thing here is we are talking about positive ways that we can look at these issues, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
In your own social media, I've noticed that it's not always light and bubbly, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate that sometimes you're like, I'm having a meh day, or sometimes you're like, I'm having a silly day, or sometimes you're like, I screwed up, whatever, you know what I mean? And I think that has an element of, just humanity that I think is really beautiful. How do you choose which moments of your humanity you want to put on a social media context?
My entire relationship to social media is based on where I'm at in my mental health that day.
All right, cool. You hear that? I can feel better now. All right, cool. It's not just me. All right, yeah.
So,
yeah, that's great.
If I'm dark for 2 weeks, I'm busy.
Yeah,
but also I just don't have it.
I feel it.
I could document my life, but I just don't have it.
Yeah.
This meme that summed up my whole last 2 weeks, even though things have been going well, I'm not even complaining, but I've just been on 10, this whole, you know what I'm saying? And so this meme was a text from friend to a friend, and the friend said, "Do you have anxiety prime?" And she said, "Yeah, why?" And then she put a little star. She said, "Amazon." She was like, "Oh yeah, I got that too." And I was like, me.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got anxiety prime and Amazon too.
Anxiety, depression, prime, my best friends.
For example, Beethoven's Fifth, I think, has 2 million thumbs down. Right? People.
Can you imagine if there was social media back then?
No, well,
but
that's
some
the
of
thing.
that is you're an idiot. That's fine.
What I've learned is if I can do the horse thing, like this, it helps. I'm that's why I had to stop getting on Twitter, because anytime I would turn on Twitter, I would actually feel the chemicals in my brain being combative and being stirred up to be combative just by the things that was coming into my eyes, right?
Yeah, social media definitely does affect the way that your brain works and affects the way that you have, the perspective that you have as you leave social media and go about and live your life and talk to people. I mean, think about how you start to see the world if and when you've ever been on a dating app, for example. It's if you go like this all day, swipe, I'm looking at credentials, that's how I'm sizing these people up. Then you go to Trader Joe's at the end of the day and everybody's like, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
Because you've been in this headspace in your mind. At least that's when I was on the apps for 2 seconds before I was like, I cannot. When I was on the apps, I was like, it just made, I didn't like the way it made me look at men or the world. And I didn't.
Also, can we just, I don't know why men need to hear this, but don't send a picture of your dick until you are prompted to send a picture of your dick.
Fair.
Don't
No.
send that.
Who's sending a picture? Is that? Are people still doing that?
Yes, and this is
Unprompted
why
dick?
I was like,
wait,
you
they
know,
are. They are. I got one. Like
I was just like,
yeah,
sir,
yeah.
we haven't even had coffee.
yeah.
Sir.
They
It's
think
like
they
it's like
think
a business card nowadays.
It's a young, dumb, foolish thing to do. Guys
It
who
is
know
true,
what's
yeah.
up,
But,
they
like-
don't do that.
Yeah,
Listen,
right,
and
Real
heterosexual
men don't do that.
Listen, I get it because Bob the drag queen told me the gay dudes trade, dick pics like Pokemon cards.
Right.
I understand.
That's a different culture.
I understand.
That's
but
a different
we
culture.
are not that.
Right,
I don't
right.
want to see your dick until I say, "Let me see your dick."
Yeah,
Let me
fair.
ask. Let
Fair.
me ask.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't be saying. Also, how do I know it's your dick?
Right. That's the other thing. Google.
Put your face in it. They're like, nah, I don't want to.
Ty used to be at the beginning. I hope I'm not out. He would probably appreciate I tell this story, but he would be so great. We'd get to a city, and then you just Google image the city, and then you can kind of make it look like your day, from everywhere. It's all these drone shots.
Oh
of
my God,
there are these epic
hilarious.
cities. Like, yeah, I saw, did this.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
And it's like it's that's even for another line of thought that I have, which is AI, and that's a whole nother.
The lady who ran the because I watched that. I don't know if you watched that documentary. It was on HBO, and it was basically about like creating Instagram like fame. I forget I'll find the title and send it to you. But basically, they were talking to they do as a social experiment. They get these 3 like just random people, and they see how they can like make them famous through social media, and it works. They fake all this. It's
my God.
amazing.
What do they do?
It's
I have to see it.
amazing. It's
What do they
amazing.
do? What do they do?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Like I've actually stolen some of these because they were kind of epic. Okay. One of them was
Post a picture of your butt.
no. None of this. None of this. None of this.
Dick pics.
But
It's
what
so
they would
sad
do
which
is
one of my posts get the most. Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Isn't that
exactly.
sad though?
It's so
No,
sad.
true.
Can we talk
true.
about
like
that? It's really sad.
if I have the girls
More people listen to one of my songs that I put out when the cover was so
scandalous.
and I was so mad. I was like, y'all didn't give a crap about my EP because I was all clothed.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
No, but that's something. Like,
Yeah.
and okay, so
That is
this is
something.
what this documentary did because it was I think it was called Making Famous or Faking Famous. That's it, Faking Famous. Okay, so this is what they did. They got like a kiddie pool and they put all these rose petals and they rented this really nice house for the day. And then they get a close up on the kiddie pool, but like they cut out the kiddie pool part, so all you saw was the rose petals. And they had a turban on the girl's head and some cucumbers. And then they just tagged the Four Seasons Spa, and she was like, "Spa day."
So is getting followers about being like living a bougie lifestyle?
No, but here's what
No.
was interesting.
Well,
okay, this is why y'all should watch
Depends
this.
on who's following.
But
Yeah,
y'all should
yeah.
watch this because what it showed was they bought followers for her, right?
Oh,
right?
they paid for followers.
No, but here's what happened. They did that initially. And then they kept putting all these fabulous photos. So then she actually started getting real followers.
followers.
Oh, yeah.
Then she started getting people who wanted her to do product placement ads.
Okay.
Then she started getting people who wanted her to do like commercials or da-da-da-da.
Then
Then
you're
she
making
started,
bank.
and she was an actress, right? Then she started actually booking work.
I'm done.
So
I am dead. The faking famous is not faking famous.
Oh,
That's
no,
reality.
But
Yeah,
but
that's
what I'm
becoming
modern day
telling you is
famous,
like
reality.
making myself
there
famous.
is a
That's what it should
cargo
be called.
hanger.
Yeah.
It's like a set cargo hanger that they made to look like a jet. Like a private jet, and you would be surprised how many. And now you can clock it because if you Google search image, you can tell
Which is
who's-
the same
Yeah,
plane
The
hanger.
gall. I think that's
and you
been
can
my-
rent it by the hour.
This is the thing I love about Los Angeles, right? To me, Los Angeles represents planet Earth in the way that it's the most it's a multicultural, multiracial democracy that I dig, right? I dig that sign.
Where we live is the center of the universe. Yes.
Well,
Yes,
I
yes,
say
yes.
no. I don't mean it like that. I don't want to sound like a
No, I'm just kidding. I'm
douchebag
sorry.
from,
I made you that way. I'm so sorry.
No. It's okay. The thing I love about it is the delusional energy. For my first 10 years here, it grows on trees, right? And
It's crazy.
And if you
Yeah.
feed into the negative part of that, it will feed you all. It'll chew you up and spit you out. Whether you love LA or hate LA, either way, you're right. When I figured that out, and then only put people around me that figured that out on a consistent basis, it changed everything from my world. All kinds of things started opening up. And in that respect, I think it is make believe. This is what's your dream, right? They just gave Tupac Shakur a star. Shout out to Tupac on a fucking Walk of Fame today. It's like it's make believe, but it's also it means something
poignant.
to people. It's symbolic.
It's also poignant. I mean, it's poignant because yes, he did deserve that.
And I'm not talking about Tupac. What I'm saying is the city itself.
Yes,
being make believe. It's part of the show business.
That's my point, though. It's poignant because he deserved that, but also the city is profiting on his legend, and that's why they did it.
Fair.
It's a glamorous city and it's a dark city equally, and that's.
I'm born and raised here, so sometimes people are like, "I hate LA." I'm like, "Then get the fuck out of my city, yo."
Right.
You got to learn
how
to.
That you're from LA. I did not know that.
Born and raised.
That's
Did you
so
tell
rare.
by she came in? She comes in hot. You said that's a girl. Yeah.
I love it.
I was
it
born
too.
in Long Beach. I was raised in Watts, South Central, Hancock Park, Silver Lake. I went to high school in Santa Monica. I am from
All
LA.
Over the
so
city.
I'm like, listen, you got to rock with my city any city. You got to learn her curves and her ends and her edges and her outs. You can't just be sitting up here being like, she did. No, you can't do that. LA has so much to offer if what you're looking for is an offering. The problem is people are looking the problem is that people are looking to take so much. And then when there's not enough to take, they're like, this is a shitty place. And
but
I'm
that's
like,
that's people chasing, not generating it from inside. Back to your point.
That's true.
Yeah.
So before I forget, with all of our esteemed guests, we like to play little games.
Yeah, silly games.
I like
help.
games.
Silly games help.
Not like,
It'd be the
emotional
equivalent
games.
of me wearing a scandalous.
It's a scandalo.
It's a scandalo for a
It's a
podcast.
scandalo.
Yeah,
So
scandalous
this
outfit
one
for a
is
podcast.
from a wonderful sponsor of ours called Table Topics. Yeah. So what we are going to do is we're each going to get 2 cards, and we're going to let you, as our esteemed guest, go first. Yes. And we each get to read, and we each get to answer all of the cards. Okay, no?
Okay, but if you are like, I'm not saying this fucking answer on an open mic, you do have the option to pass, but you have to answer the second question. All right, so Olivia Kuper, let's go ahead and turn the first one over.
Okay.
And read it. Go ahead and read it out loud.
When you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Aww, that's just such a softball.
Oh, do I answer it?
Yeah.
I wanted to be a singer.
Yeah, okay.
It's so boring.
No,
that's what I am.
From what age?
Literally, I don't even have like a memory of not wanting to be a singer.
Really?
I was like singing around the house all the time. I was singing, just walking around singing. My family was just ignoring me, just all the time.
Hey,
when I was 10 years old, I was like, I made a pact with my best friend, and we were gonna move to LA together, and just like, I don't know, at the same time we're gonna like still live at home, but we're gonna move to LA and live next door to each other.
Amazing.
And I did move to LA. I did end up moving to LA.
Yeah.
So
see,
fun.
What about you?
Vision.
Yes, what's yours?
Okay, so I wanted to be a singer and a judge.
Ooh,
I feel
you
like
are that.
You are that. When you're sitting right here, you're about to be that, because you'll be slicing up these peoples on the ones and zeros.
I even think there's like a video, like at my 6th grade graduation, they were like, what do you want to be? And I was like, when I grow up, I want to be a Supreme Court justice and a Grammy Award-winning singer.
That's right, girl. Get it. We're going to get it. We manifest that shit right in here.
You already are a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
justice system of this room, baby.
Yeah, that's what's up. You know what's funny? This is going to sound weird, but my earliest memory was of being a DJ. And so
that's kind of apropos, though.
No, it was. And I used to have I'd have the record player, and then I'd have another recorder to the side. And so what I'd do is I'd be coming out at the end of the song, I'd drop it in and then record that part, and I'd be, all right, yeah, you just heard, whatever. You just heard Marvin Gaye. And
Plus you
what's
have radio
going on?
voice.
And
you do.
It almost seems like, it fell into that. But I realized this as I got older. The thing that I always wanted to be was I was chasing the feeling that music gave me, that nothing else gave me. And that ultimately led me to, be a musician most of my life, which seems like that's the one thing where I feel like I've been able to touch the hand of God, because when you can do something you love, and something that you're good at for a living, it is the greatest. I feel like it's the most sort of, at least in this capitalistic structure in 2023, as human beings, it's probably the best thing you could ever, get. And so, it's funny. I've just been chasing that, and this is actually a manifestation of that too, because I feel like the evolution of the mediums have changed. That's what I'm interested in. Is if we make a song and we can make it it's going to be a 10-second TikTok, as where it might actually get some new traction. Otherwise, we're just talking to our same fan base.
Yeah.
And so I feel like I kind of always wanted to be here, and I'm kind of always figuring out. But it definitely, the more I just listen from the inside, I feel like the healthier and the stronger I get.
That's a beautiful thing. That's like all we can do is try to like go in the direction of what we're called to do, and just try to do that with our lives. That's really all we can do.
Yeah,
it's like chase that.
Yeah.
That's what we should be chasing. Happiness, purpose.
All right, Miss Maya, grab one.
Damn. Okay, it's backwards. What was the best vacation you ever took?
These are cute. See, these aren't
bad.
weird questions.
No, they can get bad.
They can get spicy.
Yeah, they can get
Oh,
spicy.
this
So
is
that's why I'm
the
saying
best
you have to have
vacation.
you have to have a softball that hopefully you want in the background, but sometimes you get too spicy.
I want a bad one. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll come back. Next one we'll do that. We'll do another.
Girl, we will find it.
No.
Yeah.
I take it back.
See, no take back.
Okay.
It's a tie between when my mom and I went to Costa Rica and the time I went by myself to Italy, because the time I went by myself to Italy, I had gone to Italy a lot, but I had never really vacationed. So I specifically took a week off and just went around and just like got lost in places, and that was really dope. And then the time I went to Costa Rica with my mom, I took my mom as a Christmas present, and so we spent our Christmas in Costa Rica. And it was just cool because we were out on vacation, and we're two very, very hardworking Black women, and there was something about the pride of being able to pay for that vacation and know that I had enough money, and to know that like I wasn't going to be worried about where we were going to eat or how we were going to get anywhere or any of that. That was probably one of the first times in my life I could say I could do that for my mom. Yeah. And it felt really nice, and I was like, I'm going to do this more times. It also put in my head, like, this is something you need to do more often, because this is something that it's the thing, it's travel. We all travel for work, but not a lot of times do we just sit in a place and say like just even seeing the people, like what they were about, like how it worked,
Just appreciating a place.
And like, really honing in my Spanish enough to be like, oh, I can really get by in a Spanish-speaking country, which I didn't know.
See?
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, like I know enough ghetto Spanish to not die in these ports. So yeah, that was mine.
What about you?
Yeah, it is one thing to like as we all have traveled the world, but you'll be in a city for a day and you see the back.
Like, I know what the Ramada looked like.
I know what the backstage of a theater looks like,
Yeah.
and I know what the hotel looks like.
Yeah.
And I smell the air and I'm like, that smells different. So I've been to all these amazing places that I definitely want to go back to on vacation. I don't do a bunch of vacations because I'm usually traveling for work.
Yeah.
But I will say most memorable one thus far that I can think of in this moment is went to Colorado with a group of my closest girlfriends from childhood. It was the four of us.
How old were you?
This was just in 2021 when I went with them. But I mean, we've known each other since forever. They're my girlfriends from Dallas.
Yeah.
And the four of us planned this trip, as young women, which we had never done, a little ladies trip like that. And I don't know, it was amazing. We were in Vail, Colorado. We went on all these hikes and just bonded and got that special time because my a lot of my relationships here, I would say, are professional relationships. And to be a better
professional town.
and sometimes it's like I also need to make sure I have a life and that I'm living and I have like meaningful relationships, because that is what makes you a better writer and singer and artist, is having a life. And for so long, like my own like ambition, it could get in the way of me actually living. Yeah. And so that just felt like this thing I never would have done in my past. But after touring for so many years and missing things, there's that moment you hit where you're like, I'm not going to take a tour. I'm going to go on this trip with my girlfriends who soon they'll be married. They'll have kids. Like, this is our time.
Take the opportunity.
It's special.
Ariana Grande, I came across, she was like, people think I'm a singer. She said, no, I have one job. My only job is self-care. If I do not do self-care, everything underneath that falls in some way, shape, or form.
I love that.
It's almost where you're simplifying it down, into a way. It's like, that's all I got to keep telling myself. Am I giving myself self-care here? When I get upset about something and I get into a reactory state rather than a
because we
state.
give a lot to
especially if you're empathetic and you're open and you're kind of always trying to channel. Like as artists, I feel like
that's our job on stage.
Right.
If we're depleted, there's nothing left to give. We fail at our job.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
Self-care is just, it's not selfish.
My favorite vacation was one that I just had because you're right. We were on the road for so long. The only time that we could get time to do it was in December, in between because my wife is in the entertainment industry as well, and it would be this small window. And what we realized after a couple of years of doing it is we're moving at such a fast pace all the time. Like our lives are based on a dynamic iCal schedule, that is way long. This is just the modern day at which you figure out and you use the tools to work, and it works. And we've kind of figured that out, but the first 5 days of the vacation, 6-7 days, would just be coming down off the ride. The sort of down of just trying to detox. And for me, I was like, I noticed a specific place and observing each other where it was like we needed 4 or 5 days because we've been doing this for so long just to get there, and then by the time you do it, it's time to come back and get right back into it. So
but
it
that's
wasn't.
why European
it wasn't until
take vacations that are like 3 weeks long.
Well, exactly. The Europeans, they figured out the sort of the spirit part of it. It's baked into the culture and everything. But my favorite vacation was just to Mexico, where get down. I just need to see water and detox. And but now post pandemic, I've realized that the detoxing is something I have to do every day in little bits. Is
that because you play tennis, right?
I do. I play tennis. I smoke weed. I do whatever I got to do to not kill some people, because some people deserve an ass whooping a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? And it's like one of those things where it was also Kabbalah. Day one of Kabbalah. Shout out to Ty Taylor. Anything happens. Anything. You just pause. What a pleasure. And when I actually internalized that, you don't make a move. And when you find yourself making a move that's automatic, like that motherfucker, he cut in front of me in traffic, right? It's like, no, peace be with him. Pause. What a pleasure. No, I'm lucky to be here and alive and it just changed. And you shut that down and it's like, pause. What a pleasure. And it changed my life. So I've found that now in a lot of other. I just finished reading the Bhagavad Gita, and it was like I found this in other, especially Eastern religions and stuff like that. But it really is. It's all. We are each other, and it's God or whatever you want to call it. It's inside, and then there's this field on the outside that is energy. That is, we know it. There's the scientific part, and then there's the hoodoo voodoo part. Whatever it is that gets you to connect to it, or whatever. We're empathetic people, so it comes through, and I know. It takes. I like this. This has actually been a therapy today for myself, and I appreciate that because it's. I don't know that we actually get to talk about a lot of the frustrations that are just baked into this entertainment industry.
Well, I think that's the whole point. Is that I hope that in this podcast we're setting up forums to be more supportive of artists and of each other, because you're right. Camaraderie is what gets us through and what gets us by. Yeah. So I think we have time for one more card.
Oh, yeah.
And Rick, hit it up.
What are your favorite apps?
Apps?
Yeah, apps.
Appetizers or apps?
Apps, like computer apps. Like mine's easy. Come on, Tinder. Shout out to fucking... No, I'm just playing.
Don't you have a wife?
It's Grindr. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, no. My favorite app is... although I actually enjoy watching on the road both of those apps operate through other people. It's amazing. It is an amazing thing to watch. Like you could make a whole show out of that. But my favorite app is probably the voice recorder.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I feel like you lose so much in text, you lose so much in email, you don't know tone and anything like that. And I've just become where voice memos are sort of my love language in that.
Oh, that's a huge one.
Yeah,
Those are not my love language, but I adapt to y'all.
That's like when you have an idea, when you're writing a thingy. I don't know. I was just talking to somebody last night about how did people write songs before a voice note, before a voice recorder.
Exactly.
Anyway,
what's your favorite app?
Probably notes.
Okay. That's all right.
Notes.
That's all right.
I write down it's like anything I need, reminders. Yeah. I'll think of like a joke or some random thing.
Yeah, I feel like notes is more like, I don't even feel like that counts as a favorite app.
That doesn't count, does it?
Because my favorite app is eBay. But like I need notes. Notes is like my left hand. Like I can't live without notes.
Right,
but like we're talking favorites. Like
well, he said voice recorder, and then I was like, oh, we're going there.
Yeah.
See, but that's again, I love voice recorder, and I need that. I need her. She's on my day one. Like she on my my team, but like favorite. E-Bizzle, my nizzle.
Yeah, that's different
all
from
dizzle.
needed. Because I also need that rain app. Like, you know, when you're...
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. I forgot.
Rain app.
No, I forgot to bring
What
it
is
for you. I got you a thing, specifically
give me a
this.
thing because you know how I do.
Yes,
how
because
I do.
no, I've been on tour with you, and I was like, I'm gonna kill her. She'd leave the phone off the hook, or she'd leave like the door. I don't know. You would leave like the light on or something. I was
That
just
wasn't
like,
me. That wasn't me.
No, it was you. You would make these like, or you leave radio noise on to like have white noise. And I found this thing that gives you 8 different tonals of machine, and I forgot it, but I will give it to you because I found.
I bet I
Look at
have it.
that.
But bring it.
That's
No,
love.
it's a
That's
portable
love.
one.
That's
So you can
love.
put it in your little luggage.
I love white noise.
I know.
I hear silence and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm the same.
and then
And
white
I'm
noise
the-
comes on and I'm like,
I'm the exact opposite. So
Yeah.
being your tour mate was like a living nightmare because
I wear headphones.
now you do, but when you first toured, no, you did not.
Was that me?
No, yeah, baby. Me and Danny,
My bad.
Jack Danny, we trained at Jesus as well. We trained at
bad.
Jesus as well. But you know what? Using adaptable, wonderful, schwonderful persons. And I want to big shout out to you because you are phenomenal. And it's a pleasure to watch you elevate and grow. For a few reasons. I've always believed, one, that you do best in your life when you have mentors that are both 10 years older than you and 10 years younger than you. So I know you think of me as like somebody that you ask for advice, but I think the same of you. So thank you. And two, it's a pleasure to see you be the architect of your growth because I think that's very important.
Yeah.
So before we go, how can everybody find you? And what are all your social handles and what are the best ways to connect with you?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me.
Oh my God!
pleasure.
Thank you for coming in studio. It means a lot to be in the same energy space.
No.
I mean, it's more different than Zoom.
Went by so fast.
I know. We'll do this
we'll have
again
you
real
back.
soon. Real soon.
Happy to.
Yeah.
Instagram's the best place to find me.
What's your handle?
Olivia.Kuper.Harris. My middle name is spelled like super with a K.
I like that.
It's just spelled differently with a K.
It's just Kuper, so it's Olivia.Kuper.Harris. And from there, you can kind of find everything because I have a link in my bio.
Perfection.
Word.
Ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals,
Yes.
Miss Olivia Kuper Harris. Thank you again so much.
Coming on Slap the Power! Yeah! Slap the Power is written and produced by me, Rick Barrio-Dill, and by Maya Sykes. Executive producer, Duff Ferguson. Our senior producer is Sabrina Seward. Associate producer, Bree Corey. Audio and video engineering and studio facilities provided by Slap Studios LA, with distribution through our collective home for social progress and art, Slap the Network. If you have ideas for a show you want to hear or see, or you would like to be a guest artist on our show, please email us at info@slapthepower.com.